Hello, boosters from around the world. My name is Kais, and I'm 12 years old, and I live in Montreal, Canada. Welcome to our Oboot Zoom session where me and my co-host Jane, who is 15 years old and lives in Omaha, Nebraska, in the United States, will be interviewing our guest changemaker, Linda Ketner, who is based in the United States and South Carolina. She is particularly known for her affordable housing work that she started in the 1990s, and it resulted in tens of thousands of people in South Carolina now living in safe housing. Linda's work links to several sustainable development goals, especially to goal number 11, sustainable cities and communities. We hope that you will enjoy the session, and I'll now start with our first question to our guest. Can you please tell us a little about you and what you do for your work?
What I do for my work. Okay, so I'm an organization development. That's the job I get paid for. Okay, so I did go to very large companies throughout the United States and in some cases in Europe and actually in Australia as well, and help them decide how to integrate technology, the people that work for them, the people that they served in a better and more effective way, and also how to do management better and that sort of thing. That's what I got paid for years. And I worked at a place called the Center for Creative Leadership, which was a research tank trying to identify how to build leaders and how to expand what they could accomplish. And then I started my own company, and I still work with very large corporations. And then about 15 or 18 years ago, I decided not to do big businesses anymore. I would only work with nonprofits whose missions I supported. And I charged them about 20% of what I charged my, wealthy companies. And then I didn't bill them for all the hours. Because in this case, nonprofits can't afford generally that sort of help. So I was able to go into nonprofits and hopefully help them to do what they were trying to accomplish for the world in a better way.
Your professional background is very diverse. So how did you come to such a very different things, from corporate business to not for profit startup to running for political office?
Wow. I guess my true reason for being on the planet is to affect change. It goes back to my grandmother, actually. Can I tell you a little bit about her?
Yes.
When I was like 4 years old, I had two friends that were really poor, and they had invited me to their house, and I could tell it was really different. We didn't have a fancy house back then, but we had, a regular middle-class house. And I would go to their house, and it, one didn't have heat and plumbing, and there was wind coming through the boards, and the other one didn't have rooms. They had blankets that separated areas within their house. And I went to my grandmother, and I was maybe 4 or 5. And I said, Ma, I don't understand. Why are some people, they have too much of everything, and other people don't have enough? What's that about? Why didn't God do something about it? And she said to me, well, Linda, do you think God's like Santa Claus, that he works through elves at night? And I thought about that for a while. And I said, no, I don't think so, Ma. I don't think he works through elves at night. And she said, no, he doesn't. He works through you and me. And he counts on us to do something. So if you see something wrong in this world, you just figure out what needs doing and get at it. And that's, I might put that on my tombstone when I die, because my life's been about that, to figure out what needs doing and get at it if you see something wrong. The remarkable thing to me about what my grandmother planted that seed in me so early was, first of all, you're powerful enough to do it. She actually said, Linda, you have a good brain. She said, use it to do good. So she made me think I was capable, okay? She made me think I was powerful, that I could do something. She made me feel I was responsible for doing something. And those things have kind of been, since that very, very early planted seed in my mind, it's kind of directed everything I did. Probably not my professional life. My professional life, seriously, my professional life was more a means to an end. I needed to support myself. But I didn't feel the sense of accomplishment when I was working with, say, General Foods, which is a big corporation, International Corporation, or Alumax, or Baxter, Travenol, or these big corporations that I worked with, I didn't feel that thing inside that made me feel like that I was doing enough. So that led me into my nonprofit world. With the Housing Trust Fund in the 90s, for instance, I learned that in South Carolina, 68,000 people got their water from a creek here. And it was the 90s, for gosh sakes. Also learned that almost 900,000 people lived in houses that would be condemned. They were, no heat, no electricity, no plumbing. The kind of houses that my two friends when I was young lived in. So I knew what they looked like, and I visited them and stuff. And then I learned that we were the only state in the union where there was no state money going to affordable housing. I thought that was really wrong. So I figured out what needed doing, and I got to trying to fix it. We organized over 4,000 people across the state to go to the legislature, which they had never had that number of people visiting the legislature and asking for this housing trust fund bill. Back up a little bit, and when we didn't know what a housing trust fund bill was, so we did research throughout the United States to find out states that were similar to ours, southern states, that sort of thing, that had a comparable legislature, that had comparable problems. So we researched all of those across the United States. We might have even looked into, you're in Oklahoma, Jane?
I'm in Nebraska.
Omaha. We might have even looked at Nebraska. And we found a piece of legislation that fit us. We tweaked it. And then literally we spoke, if there were 3 people that wanted to listen to us, we spoke, we were on TV, we did ads, we went to the legislature each and every day for 4 months. They laughed at us. They were rude to us. They were very ugly to us, some of them. But we got it passed. Yeah, we got it passed. So it's a matter of a tenacity, creativity, research, marketing. Marketing is huge when you're trying to sell something, and building a base that has passion. So, in that case, that's what we did. And then I started a organization. There had been no organization in the state for social justice for LGBTQ people. And we started that in, I think it was 98 or 99. And nobody was talking about it. Everybody knew there were gay people around, right? But there wasn't a face to it in South Carolina at all. Everybody was in the closet. And so first thing we did was put billboards all over the state. And it had a picture of 4 of us. And one of them was a doctor, one of them was a minister. I was one of them. And the other one was a realtor. And we were on these billboards across the state and said, we are your neighbors and we are gay. Then we did a radio ad on it. We did a TV ad. We did a TV program. So we used media as well. And slowly but surely, more and more people came out in South Carolina, and it became normalized, So it's a matter of thinking creatively, putting yourself out there, and having an ethos with what you're doing. Our ethos was we choose to educate, not alienate. So we bit our tongues a lot in trying to be more amenable and open than we really were. I mean, we'd go home and just go, oh my God, can you believe what they said to us? And things like that. Or, oh God, can you believe this? We had a death threat our first week on a postcard, which I thought was highly original on the author's part. Who sends a death threat on a postcard? But we got things like that, and we kept going, So you just need to figure out what he's doing and get at it.
Yes. My next question is, what skill sets were most beneficial to you as you pivoted from one career path to another?
Well, my skill sets built on each other, which is really good. I actually taught high school when I first got out of college, and then I went back to school in social psych and organization. So I think that having an organization development background helped me look at whatever situation I was in, whether it was in the business world or whether it was in some of my activism world, from a systems point of view, and understand how the elements were fitting together and how they could fit together more to get something done. So they built on each other. I was able to use all of those aspects with one another.
When you first, before you went to college, did you have, well, when you went to college, did you know what you like wanted to do? Did you think that you would end up being a part of something so great?
No, I'd love to tell you, yeah, well, I knew from, no, no, I got my American Lit degree and taught high school. And then I thought, when I taught high school, I was very frustrated because I taught in a real crazy place that bussed in inner city kids and that were African American, Black largely, and then for lack of a better word, redneck white kids. And the mix was really bad. And I understood at that point that I could impact the classrooms that I had, but I wanted to have a larger impact than that. I went back to grad school and got out of grad school not being really sure what I wanted to do, and had a job offer, took it. No, it was not planful. I'd like to tell you it was, but it wasn't.
To say the least, you've had a lot of great accomplishments. What accomplishment are you most proud of, would you say?
Probably the Housing Trust Fund, because literally, I went all over the state and I saw the conditions people were living in. And I know now that, there have been, since we got the bill passed in the 90s, there are literally 100,000 kids that have a safe, decent, warm place to live and get up in. And then the other part is the LGBT thing, because I had been in the closet for years when I decided to do this. And I'm really proud that I had the guts to do it, because I am a lesbian as well. And I had, just been zipped up about it, had all kinds of people from my teachers to my minister to everybody telling me, oh, don't come out because all the other things you want to do in life won't be available to you if you come out. So it was a personal success story to me that I had the internal whatever to do that as well. And also, I think it has probably, it was a big part of normalizing LGBTQ people and their rights at a time when nobody was doing it. So I'm real proud of that as well.
Yeah. How does the fund work?
Okay, so 0.1% of each dollar on a house that's sold in South Carolina goes into this big fund, okay? The Housing Trust Fund. 1/10 of $1 goes into that fund. And then each year, people from across the state apply to that fund for projects that they want to accomplish, whether it's putting water in a home or building a community that they subsidize the rent through the Housing Trust Fund. So you've got a low rent and people can live in beautiful housing for a lot less money than it would cost. So that's how it's funded. And then it's in perpetuity. So it keeps building each year. And we live on the coast of South Carolina. I do. The whole state contributes, but our real estate is going crazy. So it's selling like crazy and it's selling for high cost. So we're getting more and more money into the Housing Trust Fund, which means all those people that live in substandard housing have opportunities now with money to build for good, strong, adequate housing.
You have been very active in providing a safe and healthy living environment for people in your community. How have you helped in that area with the fund and just all that?
In general? Well, I tell you what we're getting ready to do now. A friend of mine, Abe Jenkins, and I, food insecurity is huge right now with COVID. South Carolina is one of the worst states, and people have lost their jobs. It's real, this area particularly, real dependent on restaurants, hotels. Those are really, you know, they're out right now. And so people are doing without jobs. So when Katrina hit, you know, Katrina, the hurricane that hit, did a lot of, my partner and I went down and worked for several weeks down there, and we had a tent, a big tent, and we put donations that people had made into a grocery store, but it was a free grocery store. So Abe and I are talking as soon as you and I get off the phone about putting one on Johns Island, which is a rural area and much needed. Food insecurity is very high down there, and doing that, and then figuring out a way, because there are a lot of people that don't have transportation issues. So a free grocery store, and we're going to put it in one of several locations, and then we're also going to have a bus that goes to people that can't get to the free grocery store. So we're setting that up. It's just a matter of looking around you and seeing where and what is needed, and then figuring out what needs doing and getting at it.
Yeah. What's something you'd still like to do? Just like plans you have for the future, more things you'd like to accomplish with what you are a part of.
I need to back up for a second. So after I ran for political office and barely lost, which was pretty amazing, seeing as how I was a Democrat in an extremely Republican district, and I was also openly lesbian. So that was pretty astounding. But I had planned to run for office again because I do believe systemic change, and in large part that's political change, makes things happen faster. My mom got diagnosed with Alzheimer's actually the week that I lost the election, and I spent the next 12 years choosing to take care of her, and kind of got out of everything, truthfully. And so I lost her recently, and COVID hit. So it was kind of like, I felt like Job, you know, the plague was on me. So I am trying to decide, you know, where best to go next. There's a lot that needs doing. I'm extremely interested in racial justice, have been since I was a little kid. That's a grandmother story too. Have been since I was a little kid. So I'm trying at this point in time to figure out where I can make the most impact, and probably systemic change rather than one person at a time. Some sort of systemic effort, probably directed toward the state government and some of the barriers they have to racial equality. So I'm working on that now. If you have any ideas, let me know.
Okay.
All right. So how did COVID affect your work?
Well, it brought it to a stop, didn't it? I have an immune disease, so I had to lay low, and I just got my second vaccine yesterday. So I'm just like, another 2 weeks and I'm probably pretty safe. That's why Abe and I are going to start this free store sometime within this month, because, you know, now I can get out and get going. Yeah.
All right.
Now,
So,
pleasure wise, I hit out on my boat. I love a boat. Okay. And my partner and I will go down the Intercoastal Waterway and, you know, go into Jekyll Island or someplace like that, put on our mask and spend the night on the boat. And that's what I did to try to kind of be out, because, you know, staying in the house is crazy. I know you live in colder climates, don't you? Isn't it pretty cold where you are? Where are you?
yeah, Canada, in Montreal.
Ah, okay. You got snow out the wazoo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We just got rain and cold. Now, how about in Nebraska?
It just snowed last night. We have a couple inches on the ground, but
That's
definitely
better.
snowed.
Snow's better, but you know, being like locked in during the winter is miserable. So even in the winter, we go on the boat, go somewhere.
Yeah, there hasn't been that much snow the past like 2 days. I don't think
Really?
it snowed. Yeah, no.
Well,
But
God,
the
they're
days
getting it.
before that, there was a lot of snow.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love snow. I tried to learn to ski, but I can't do it. And I'm clumsy. I'm a Taurus. My legs won't cooperate. No.
Hmm.
Can you
Alright.
guys ski? Can you
I can
ski?
snowboard.
Once, but
Yeah, you can snowboard. My
Mhm.
nephew can do that really well. That takes some talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have different workplaces in different parts of the world?
I did. I used to uh, have an office in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and I've worked in central part of England, and I've been in Australia for a while on long projects. So I'd have an office in places like that. Now my office is in my house.
Okay. Do you think that your work impacts people and or the planet in a positive way?
I hope so. I mean, I think that's I the bottom line to me is people either um, see the planet is and I want to get everything I can. I want to make the most money. I want to live in the best house. I want to, are we? And I've tried to live from the we. We're in this together. And so we've all got to figure out how to work together and be with one another in a positive way. You know what our government's been going through lately, politically, and it's a tragedy to me that we're in the situation we're in. But I think I hope that my life has largely been about the we. You know?
yeah.
All right. Do you think that you're famous?
No, no. I'm a medium-sized fish in a small pond. You know,
All
I
right.
think there are a lot of people who probably know me locally, especially since I paid a bazillion dollars to put my face on TV and stuff when I ran for office. So I can't get by with much anymore. People tend to recognize me, but it's a small world. So I might be a medium-sized fish in a small world. You think that's
All right.
important? Do you think it's important to be famous?
No, I don't think it's
Good.
important.
Enough to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, what was your favorite thing to do when you were a kid?
Okay, so this is how wacky I was even young. So I, I was, okay, I am pretty much cisgender. I kind of look like the sex that I was born into, but inside there's this fabulous baseball player. Okay. And I'm in the second grade and I am the best pitcher, I thought, probably in the world. Okay. I could really pitch. I'm not kidding. And so all the little league teams then only let little boys play. Okay. But they would all have me warm them up for the game. Okay. Okay. That did not sit well with me at all. At all. I wanted to play Little League and I could not understand why I couldn't. So nobody had taught me any of this, but I decided to write the President of the United States a letter to bring his attention to the fact that little girls and Black people couldn't play Little League. I wrote the letter, told him I knew he had just not heard of this, but it was true that we couldn't play, and that I'm sure he was going to do something about it immediately. And I would appreciate it if he'd hurry because there was a game next Thursday, and if I pitched, Presbyterians would win. So I wrote the letter, and then, I was thinking, well, if I sign it, that's one thing, but maybe I could get everybody at Frank B. John Elementary School to sign my letter too, and that would mean more. So I went all the classrooms, the fifth graders, the fourth graders, blah, 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 and had these, that lined paper you have, everybody's signature on it, sent it to the president. And so what was I good at? I was good at pitching. I really was. I probably am not now because I haven't had a lot of opportunity, but probably the New York Yankees missed out on me being a New York Yankee. Oh, and I got a form letter back from me, by the way. Thank you for your blah, 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 yada, yada.
All right. So, who inspired you to get into your work? I'm gonna guess I know who it is.
My grandmother and my father.
I knew it.
Yeah, I figured you'd get that. Let me tell you something else she did for me, because I think one of the things that kids miss out on is their power to make things happen. So I'm really old. And when I was, again, it was before I was in school, we went to a 5 and 10 cent store. Do you even know what those are? It's like a, okay, it's like, it has toys and everything else in it. Okay. And we were in there, and it was back during the Jim Crow. You know what that is, right? Jim Crow in the United States? Okay. And they had 2 fountains there. One said white and one said colored. Okay. And I'd never seen those words. I could read at that point, and I'd never seen those words before. And so I looked at her and I said, "Mom, what does that mean?" And she goes, "Well, what do you think that means?" And I said, "Well, are white people supposed to drink from this fountain and colored people supposed to drink from this fountain?" She said, "Yeah, that's what it means. What are you going to do about it?" And, I'm 5 years old. What are you going to do about it? So I went over to the colored water fountain, and I had a drink, okay, of that water. And it's that kind of thing that I think, no matter how old you are, another quick example. Do I have time? Yeah. Okay, second grade, still Jim Crow. I'm in a new place. City bus comes. I look, and they've got this brass chain on the last 4, 2, and 2, and the back panel seat. The brass plaque says coloreds only. Well, I'd known about this at this point, because I've been real sensitized since my grandmother had shown me the 2 water fountains. I decided in the second grade, I was supposed to be riding the bus home from school, I would sit in the colored section. So I did. I went back there and I sat there quietly, and I made every other Black person around me very nervous. Okay. And I was fine for a while. And then the bus driver saw me in the rearview mirror, and he went, "Little girl." And I went, "Yes, sir." And he said, "You get back down where you belong right now." And I went, "I can't do that, sir. I'm fine back here." He said, "No, I mean it. You get back and sit where you're supposed to sit right now." And I said, "I can't do that, sir. I'm sorry. All the Black people around me are getting very, very uncomfortable with what I'm doing." He stopped the bus. Okay. He put me off the bus. We had only lived in Salisbury for 2 weeks. I had no idea how to get home. Okay. Nothing looked familiar around me. And so it took me forever to be asking questions to go. But my point is this: I don't care how old you are. You can be 4 or 5 or second grade. There are things you can do every day that need doing,
Yeah.
All right, so I have one last question for you. Do you have
Sure.
any advice for somebody who wants to do work like yours?
Yeah, you can do it. If you want to do it, you do it. There's nothing in your way that you can't step over to make it happen. Each and every one of you. There's nothing that can stop you from making it happen. And if anything starts to block you, you figure a way around over it, around it, or through it. But do it. If you want it, you do it.
All right, so thank you, Linda and Jane, for the great discussion and for everything that we learned today. Thank you, Obooters, for listening to this interview. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can hear about upcoming sessions with other changemakers. Please also tell your friends about Oboot and share social media links with them. And last but not least, go to oboot.co to learn about opportunities to collect digital badges and help us draw down carbon.